At number 17, the Cincinnati Bengals select edge rusher Shamar Stewart, who has a ton of upside if he can develop. And behind Trey Hendrickson, whether or not he ends up staying, this is a good insurance pick or a nice, nasty duo. At number 18, the Seahawks take my advice and take Greg Zabel to fill out the interior of that offensive line. Super happy to see that. At number 19, the Bucks make a bit of a splash, taking Emeka Egbuka, making an absolutely nasty quartet of wide receivers with Evans, Godwin, McMillan, and now Egbuka as a secondary slot wide receiver. At number 20, the Broncos also surprised me and ended up taking a defensive player, cornerback Jahdae Barron, who most certainly would be their nickel corner, which, considering that they don't have many other needs, I guess this does fill out their defense. At number 21, the Steelers end up taking Derek Harmon, a pick that I've mocked to them before, filling out the interior of the defensive line and shocking everyone, not taking Shedeur Sanders or Jackson Dart. At number 22, the Chargers add another running back to their run game with Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, who I think could end up taking the entire starting role. At number 23, the Packers get a speedy wide receiver to run their play action plays with in Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. If he could also develop in his route running skills, this dude could be an absolute monster. At number 24, the Vikings end up taking tackle Donovan Jackson, who's probably going to end up kicking inside the guard, considering that's where their need is. And then at number 25, my New York Giants make an absolutely crazy trade to number 25 with the Texans and select Jackson Dart. This really surprised me, considering you could see no other quarterbacks went for the rest of this draft. And I understand trying to get the fifth year option, taking a guy in the first round, but I think the Chiefs were willing to move down, and you only would have been 4 picks away from them. So instead of giving away a second round pick this year and 2/3, one this year and one next year, you could have given up a lot less. But still, nonetheless, the Giants get their guy in Jackson Dart. At number 26, the Falcons trade up and get James Pierce Jr., probably not expecting him to be there, but end up taking 2 edge rushers, filling both spots at a huge position of need for them. Wow, I couldn't believe it, but they actually did address an entire position group in one round of the draft. That is pretty crazy. The Baltimore Ravens replace Marcus Williams and take safety Malachi Starks. This is an absolute steal. Safeties and linebackers are undervalued, much like running backs, and the best ones end up getting taken later in the first round. The Detroit Lions end up getting Tyleik Williams to put inside next to Aiden Hutchinson. And the Commanders get Josh Connerly to invest in Jaden Daniels and help keep him protected. The Bills go Maxwell Harrison as they needed a corner. So this is a nice ad for them. Very, very twitchy guy. Would like to see what he can do for their defense. The Eagles, of course, they end up with a nasty pick. They get Jahad Campbell. He's got some injury concerns, but still, he's going to be fantastic. And then same thing with Josh Simmons to the Chiefs, another great player going to a great team that's going to be able to use him in the future.